So, I don't have my phone with me, but last night I finished Stormsight and loved it. Loved the entire series. Let me get there, let me get there, let me get there. So, what happened at the end of the last one? Izzy was taken by Scarden, the emperor who wants to unite the dragons and make the shadow dragon come back to rule over everyone, basically. The claim is so that he can bring our loved ones back to life. However, we know that that is not a complete life because they don't want to come back. And it's not going to be very nice to them if they don't want to come back. So there we have it. Stormsight by Jessica Deen Norris. So anyway, so Tiber and them, Tiber, Lucy, Warwick, the Fire Fairy, and Fitz, the Storm Seeker, they have every intention of going to get Izzy back from the Emperor. We find out that Jameson, the one who killed Ariella, and basically went back to the Shadow Knights, not really having second thoughts, but trying to figure out how to get out of this situation he found himself in. I suspect, because the mission at the end of the last book was to find the real Stormsight, I suspect that it was Fitz. But after learning more of Jameson's stories, I started to suspect it was Jameson. We don't know who it is until the very end. But, so they end up getting Izzy back. Tiber and Fitz meet up with a new character and a new fairy, another storm fairy. I'm not very good at remembering names. But anyway, this new character is Galvera. I might be pronouncing that wrong because I might be imagining the letters wrong. But anyway, she is the granddaughter of Halden, who was the guy that in the very beginning got them from Volastron Bay into Scorzon City area. So anyway, I am not very good at this right now. So he's been taken, and she called in a favor to the Storm Fairies, and basically the Storm Fairy that's with her will not live if they don't kill Scarden, the Emperor. So they go with them to get Izzy back. It ends up being Tiber, Galveria, and Fitz, and the two fairies go to talk to the Fire Fairy Queen, to find out what the prophecy was regarding the Stormsight. We find out that Vandra, the Storm Fairy that left us, is there, and the Storm Fairy Queen is her mother. So she's trying to convince her mother to fight against Scarden with the humans. Her mother's saying absolutely not. So Warwick and the other fairy, Keldy, something like that, they go to try and convince the Storm Fairy Queen to give them the prophecy. And she does, but she only gives them part of it. And the prophecy basically describes somebody who's been through a lot of grief, rising as the new Stormsight. I think that's the light. After they leave, they think they know who it is. After they leave, Vandra comes back to her mother, trying to talk some reason into her again. And her mother gives her the real one, which is missing a line that says marked, bloodline marked by dragon's breath. I don't really know what that means, and I didn't really want to like go back into the book to find out. That's one thing I don't like about devices like this, is it's really hard to go back and keep your place, especially on the Nook. Both forms, the app and the device. Kindle is a little bit easier. Anyway, so Vandra now knows who it is. Warwick thinks he knows who it is. Warwick thinks it's Ormond, who is a leader in the Protectors, and also engaged to the Highgarth Lord's, ex-Lord's daughter, Emerald. They're both Stormseekers. So Warwick goes to let them know that Ormond needs to get his dragon back from Scarden. Vandra, with the missing piece of the prophecy, says she knows who it is now, but she hasn't connected up with the rest of the gang yet. But they got Izzy back. So Izzy and Sapphire, the frost dragon, are back in Highgarth, working out a plan to go after Scarden. On the way back to Highgarth, Izzy and Tiber are battling. They're basically going head to head with the storm dragon to get over the storm wall that was created by a dragon's grief, I guess. Well, the storm dragon and Scarden, they end up backing off because the shadow dragon has come, but the shadow dragon needs a source of water. Tiber experiences this all-encompassing hope that they are definitely going to win, this belief that they are going to win, that light will defeat dark and all that jazz. And he ends up becoming pretty powerful, and his hits end up actually harming the shadow dragon instead of just being absorbed by it. So he tells Lucy about it, Lucy and Sapphire about it, his experience, but no one can figure out what that's about. It eventually happens where they decide that they're going to meet up with Scarden and basically take on Scarden and get rid of him once and for all, instead of waiting around and waiting to basically play defense. So they go on the offense, and it ends up where Tiber and Lucy are both knocked from their dragons by the Shadow Fairies, who have come to join the fight, and the Shadow Dragon, again, comes to join the fight. Tiber gets washed ashore. Lucy gets washed ashore by Warwick, so she and Warwick are together. And we find out that Tiber is taking refuge with his old boss, Drudge Keeper, Grim, from the very beginning. Except Tiber knows a little bit more confidence now. He's able to stand up for himself. He's able to stand up for others. And he says, absolutely not. You are not going to intimidate me. And so basically he makes his way away from Grim to go and get Izzy back, who has once again been captured by Scarden. Izzy and Sapphire are both in the courtyard of the castle. I'm assuming they just said they were outside with a bunch of shadow guards surrounding them. So Tiber goes in, finds a way into that area, and ends up setting fire to several things to create a distraction. Before all this, while Tiber was with Grim, Lucy and Warwick are in like a little crypt underneath the storm wall. So Warwick, going to find a way to place out, ends up coming in contact with Kelby and Galavera and Fitz, who had come back to help or to find them. So Lucy, Fitz, Kelby, Galveria, whatever their names are, they're all connected, and they eventually get to the courtyard in time to see Tiber has already created his distraction, and he is trying to get to Izzy. So it ends up becoming a full-on fight between the Shadow Knights and this group of protectors and 2 dragon guardians. We get to a point where they get the dragons free, and they go in because Scarden comes back. They go in to fight Scarden. Oh, shoot, I forgot. In the battle where Tiber and Lucy fell off their dragons, Ormond went to take the storm dragon. So he got onto the storm dragon's back. But when he did so, Scarden ended up aiming a bolt straight at Emerald and killed Emerald, which caused Ormond to get really angry, and he went after and attacked physically with his fist Scarden. However, it ended up where Scarden ended up hitting him with a bolt, with a lightning bolt, and he fell off the storm dragon. Lucy caught him just barely, but she got distracted by the shadow dragon and ended up losing him. So Ormond and Emerald are both dead. Sylvandra was able to rally the storm fairies that sided with her and not her mother. So she comes to help out in the battle. Warwick and Kelby were able to rally the fire fairies, and Warwick was missing initially, but he went to the frost fairies and helped the frost fairies overthrow Tristan, who had turned the frost fairy king into a shadow fairy. And he rallied the frost fairies to come. So we've got the frost fairies, the storm fairies, and the fire fairies all helping in this great battle against the storm dragon and Scarden and the shadow dragon. Vandra, we don't hear anything from her, but eventually she comes with Jameson, because in her mind, because she knew that Jameson was the true Stormsight. Jameson, who's tried to run from the Emperor, didn't want to get involved, just wanted to live out the rest of his life in peace, regretting every single decision he made that led to his daughter Maya's death. That was at the very, very beginning of the entire series, which I didn't catch until this book, by the way. So Vandra had went to get Jameson and force him to return and to be the Stormsight, to take the dragon from Scarden. Tiber figures out through Kelby or Keldy or whatever her name is, the storm fairy, that the reason he was so powerful before is because of that hope, where he knew he could not lose and that light was going to beat dark and all that jazz. So he tells Lucy that that's what you have to do, and as much as they can while they're fighting. So they're both using that, and then they tell basically they end up killing Scarden and getting the storm dragon free from the chains, from the iron chains that's preventing her from connecting with her Stormsight. Jameson comes to claim his dragon, although he doesn't like the idea of it, but he knows he can do it. And he joins Lucy and Tiber and their dragons in defeating the shadow dragon. And since I suspected that Fitz might be a Stormsight, what ends up happening is Jameson comes up after restoring order in Volestron Bay. He comes up to Highgarth, where Tiber and Lucy are with their dragons, and he transfers his dragon to Fitz. So Fitz is the Stormsight now. All in all, it's really good. So we've got the Frost Dragon and the Frost Sight in Highgarth, over the Frost City, basically. That's their domain. That's where the people they rule over. And we've got Tiber and Izzy, the Fire Sight and the Fire Dragon, over Scorzon City, because that's their city. And then we've got the Stormsight and the Storm Dragon, so Fitz and whatever he named the dragon now, over Volotron Bay and that area. Good series. I really enjoyed it. I'm really sorry that I didn't this wasn't a very good review, but I really liked it. I thought there was a lot of character growth, even though I feel like I kind of missed it. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing with Tiber especially, and Lucy. Little bit of romance between them, as in like a kiss here and there, a few eye stares, but mostly we focused on the story, which I love. So I thought it was really great. Probably young adult series. I think even high school, maybe even junior high. Junior high could probably read it too. So yeah, I loved it.